Hari Om. Welcome to video number 2 in the series Glimpses from Kanchi Mahapariva's lectures. Today happens to be Pradosham Day. It's a Wednesday, May 4th, 2016. It's only by Guru Krupa that I'm able to compile these presentations and offer it to you. I prefer to call all the videos in this series as Guru Krupa presentations. In Guru Krupa video number 1, Mahapariva provided a brief introduction to Sanathana Dharma. In this video, Mahapariva continues to explain some of the unique features of Sanathana Dharma and how it is different from other faiths. He dispels the notion amongst many people that Hindus are polytheists and idolaters. Further, he points out that Sanatana Dharma is the only faith that does not proclaim that its followers have an exclusive right to salvation. In his own inimitable style, Mahapariva adds spice to his talk by providing several examples to illustrate some of the most intricate concepts. So with great reference to our Jagat Guru, Pujya Sri Kanchi Mahapariva, Guru Krupa now presents another glimpse from his lectures in this video number 2 as translated from the original talk in Tamil. I'll start quoting now. Quote, "Our religion has a number of unique or distinctive features. One of them is what is called the theory of karma." What is karma doctrine? For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. There is an irrefutable law of physics governing cause and effect, action and reaction. This law pertaining to physical phenomena is what our forefathers applied to human life. The cosmos include not only sentient beings that are endowed with consciousness, but also countless insentient objects that are devoid of feeling or consciousness. Together, they constitute worldly life. The laws, the dharma, that are proper to the first order must also apply to the second order. According to the karma theory, every action of a man has an effect corresponding to it. Based on this belief, our religion declares that if a man commits a sin, he shall pay the penalty for it. And also, if his act is a virtuous one, he shall reap the benefits thereof. Our religion further asserts that one is born again and again so as to experience the consequences of one's good and bad actions. Do good, do not do evil. Such are the exhortations of all religions. But Hinduism and its offshoots alone lay stress on the cause and effect connection. No religion originating in countries outside India subscribes to the cause and effect connection, nor to the reincarnation theory as one of its articles of faith. Indeed, religions originating abroad holds beliefs contrary to this theory and strongly oppose the view that man is born again and again in order to exhaust his karma. They believe that a man has only one birth, and that when his soul departs on his death, it dwells somewhere awaiting the day of judgment. On this day, God makes an assessment of his good and bad actions, and on the basis of it, rewards him with eternal paradise or sentences him to eternal damnation. Some years ago, a well-known writer from Europe came to see me. Nowadays, you see many white men coming to the madam. This gentleman told me that the Bible stated more than once that God is love. He could not reconcile with the belief that God condemns a sinner to eternal damnation without affording him an opportunity for redemption. On this point, a padre, a pastor, had told him, it is true that there is an eternal hell, but it is eternally vacant. The padre's statement is difficult to accept. Let us suppose that the Lord in his compassion does not condemn a sinner to hell. Where then does he send his soul? Since according to Christianity, there is no rebirth, the sinner is not to be born again. So he too must be rewarded with heaven as much as the virtuous man. This means that we may merrily keep committing sins without any fear of punishment. After all, God will reward all of us with heaven. This belief implies that there is no need for morality and truthfulness. According to our religion too, Ishvara, who decides our fate after death on the basis of our karma, is infinitely merciful. But at the same time, he does not plunge the world in adharma, in unrighteousness. That is not how his compassion manifests itself. What does he do then? He gives us another birth, another opportunity to reap the fruits of our good and bad actions. The joys of heaven and the torments of hell truly belong to this world itself. The sorrow and happiness that are our lot in our present birth are in proportion to the virtuous and evil deeds of our past birth. Those who sinned much in the past suffer now, and likewise those who did a lot of good enjoy much happiness now. The majority is made up of people who know more sorrow than happiness, and some who experience sorrow and happiness almost in equal measure. There are indeed very few who are blessed with total happiness. It is evident from this that most of us have done more evil than good in our past birth. In His mercy, the Lord gives us every time a fresh opportunity to wash away our sins. The Guru, the Shastras, and the temples are all His gifts to wipe away our inner impurities. That Ishvara, in His compassion, places His trust even in a sinner, confident that he will raise himself through his own efforts, and gives him a fresh opportunity in the form of another birth to advance himself inwardly. Is not such a belief better than his dismissing a sinner as good for nothing and yet reward him with heaven? If a man sincerely believes in a spirit of surrender, there is nothing that he can do entirely on his own, and that everything is the Lord's doing, he'll be redeemed and elevated. But it is one thing for God to bless a man who goes to Him for refuge, forsaking his own efforts to raise himself, and quite another to bless him, thinking him to be unfit to make any efforts on his own to advance inwardly. So long as we believe in such a thing as human endeavor, we should think that Ishvara's supreme compassion lies in trusting a man to go forward spiritually through his own efforts. It is in this way that the Lord's true grace is manifested. That God does not condemn anyone to eternal punishment in hell is a personal opinion of a particular padre. It cannot be said that all religions, like Christianity, which believe that a man has only one birth, agree with this view. They believe that God awards a man hell or paradise according to the good or evil he has done in one single birth. Since sinners who deserve to be condemned to hell predominate, the day of judgment has come to be known by the terrible name of Doomsday. Here we have a concept according to which the Lord's compassion seems to be circumscribed. There is strong evidence to support the reincarnation theory. A lady from the West came to see me one day and asked me if there was any proof of reincarnation. I did not have any discussion with her on the subject. Instead, I asked her to visit a local maternity hospital and find out about the babies born there. There was a learned man in Madam who knew English, and I asked him to accompany the lady. Later on, after they returned from the hospital, I asked the woman about her impressions of the newborn babies. She said she had found one baby plumpy and cheerful, another skinny, one beautiful and healthy, and another sickly. One child was born in a very comfortable maternity ward to a well-to-do mother, and another to a poor mother in a less comfortable ward. Leave aside the question of God consigning a man to eternal hell after his death. I said to the foreign lady, we are not witness to such an unseen phenomenon. Now you have seen with your own eyes how differently the children are born in the hospital that you visited. How would you account for such differences? Why should one child be born rich and another poor? Why should one be healthy and another sickly? And why should one be good looking and another not so good looking? If you accept the doctrine that men are born only once, you cannot but form the impression that God is neither compassionate nor impartial. Think of all the differences at birth and that he functions erratically and unwisely. How are we to be devoted to such a God and have the faith that he will look on us with mercy? How are we to account for the differences between one being and another if we do not accept the doctrine that our life is now determined by the good and the bad we did in our past births? The lady from the West accepted my explanation. Such an explanation is not, however, good enough for people in modern times. They demand scientific proof of reincarnation. Parapsychologists have done considerable research in the subject, and their findings are in favor of the theory of rebirth. In studies conducted around the world, they encountered people who remembered their past lives. Such people recall places and persons with whom they had no connection in the present birth, but they had seen them in their previous birthplaces. The parapsychologists verified these facts and, to their amazement, found them to be true. Such cases are numerous. Most of us are unaware of their past life, but some do remember them. Another unique feature of our religion is the doctrine of the incarnations of the Lord, what are called the avatars. The reality, Satvastu, is one. That it manifests itself as countless beings is one of our cardinal tenets. It follows that it is this one and only reality that transforms itself again and again into all those beings that are subject to birth and death. Also, it is the same reality that it is manifested as Ishvara to protect this world of sentient beings and insentient objects. Unlike humans, he is not subject to the law of karma. It is to live out his karma, to experience the fruits of his actions, that man is born again and again. But in birth after birth, instead of washing away his old karma, he adds more and more to the mud sticking onto him. If the Lord descends to earth again and again, it is to elevate the man and show him his righteous path. When unrighteousness gains the upper hand and righteousness declines, he descends to earth to destroy adharma, unrighteousness, and to establish dharma, righteousness again, and to protect the virtuous and destroy the wicked. Sri Krishna Paramatma declares so in the Gita. Ishvara is known to be in different states. If the Lord is all, that all is a Lord in a state that we cannot easily comprehend, then there is a state called the Vibhuti Yoga of Gita, or the Yoga of Manifestation, according to which the Supreme Lord dwells in the highest of each category, in the most excellent of things, to create the highest excellence in human life. He sends messengers to earth in the guise of preceptors, acharyas, men of wisdom and enlightenment, jnanis, yogins and devotees. This is another state in which God is to be known. Not satisfied with the previous states, he assumes yet another state. He descends to earth as an avatara. The word avatarana itself means descent. Ishvara is paratpara, that is higher than the highest, beyond what is beyond everything. Yet he descends to earth by being born in our midst to re-establish Dharma. That the one and only Paramatman, who has neither a form nor attributes, is manifested as different forms with attributes, is another special feature of our religion. We worship idols representing these forms of deities. For this reason, others label us as polytheists. This view is utterly wrong. Because we worship the one God, the one reality, in many different forms, it does not mean that we believe in many gods. It is equally absurd to call us idolaters who hold that the idol we worship is God. Hindus, with a proper understanding of their religion, do not think that the idol alone is God. The idol is meant for the worshipper to offer one-pointed devotion, and he adores it with the conviction that Lord, who is present everywhere, is present in it also. We see that practitioners of other religions also have symbols for worship and meditation. So it is wholly unjust to believe that Hindus alone worship idols. To regard them with scorn as idolaters is not right. That ours is the only religion that does not proclaim that its followers have an exclusive right to salvation is a matter of pride for us. Our Catholic outlook is revealed in our scriptures, which declare that whatever be the religious path followed by people, they will finally attain the same Paramatman. That is why there is no place for conversion in Sanathana Dharma. Live and let live has been and continues to be the ideal of our religion. It has given birth to religions like Buddhism and Jainism, and they, particularly Buddhism, have been propagated abroad for the Atmic spiritual advancement of the people there. I end the quote here. That brings us to the conclusion of this Guru Krupa video number 2. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your continued interest. and look forward to meeting you again in the next Guru Krupa video number 3. Stay tuned. Jaya Jaya Shankara Hara Hara Shankara Jaya Jaya Shankara Hara Hara Shankara Jaya Jaya Shankara Hara Hara Shankara